Imagine an urban labyrinth so densely packed that sunlight simply cannot reach the ground level. Alleys are perpetually dark, claustrophobic, and dripping with untreated wastewater. The extreme poverty here meant that families, completely unable to afford burial costs, were frequently forced to seal their dead relatives inside their own tiny apartment toilets. Public sanitation was non-existent. There was exactly one public tap serving tens of thousands of residents, while local butchers casually tossed animal waste and slaughtered dog meat directly into crowded, muddy walkways. This photograph shows the exterior of Kowloon Walled City, a staggering 6.5-acre lawless zone standing right in the middle of British-controlled Hong Kong. This environment was a physical reality that the world's most powerful empires actively ignored for decades. When we think of extreme urban crowding, images like this view of Dharavi in Mumbai usually come to mind. In Dharavi, roughly 3,000 people occupy an area the size of a standard football pitch, but Kowloon was 7 times denser than Dharavi, packing 33,000 people into 2 football fields. 350 separate buildings organically fused together, stacking like a massive honeycomb, allowing residents to travel the entire city without touching the ground. The British Empire completely surrounded this tiny enclave, yet its soldiers and police were legally barred from crossing the threshold. Kowloon was the physical result of a massive geopolitical blind spot. The origin of this anomaly traces back to a specific treaty error in 1898. Britain secured a 99-year lease on Hong Kong, but on paper, China successfully retained legal control over the military fort inside Kowloon. This map highlights the resulting borders. Zooming in, this tiny square, Kowloon, is physically trapped inside British territory, yet legally Chinese soil. Boundary arrows illustrate the stalemate. China had legal authority but no access, while British police had access but no jurisdiction. This dual lack of access and jurisdiction created a governance black hole, a physical space where no state law applied. With no police force allowed inside and no government to provide basic services, power fell to the groups capable of enforcing their own order. Inside Kowloon, that power fell to the Triads. This network of 5 criminal syndicates boasted over 52,000 members across Hong Kong and claimed absolute sovereignty over the walled city. Their control was enforced through strict initiation rituals. New recruits took a blood oath with a sword pressed to their neck, drinking a mixture of animal and human blood while swearing absolute loyalty across 36 specific vows. The Triads weaponized local superstition, convincing residents that breaking an oath would invite evil spirits to torture their families. This ensured that even educated citizens were hesitant to seek outside help. Operating in these chaotic, unregulated alleyways, an untouchable economy flourished. The gangs ran massive drug rings, brothels, and gambling dens, free from state interference. The residents here existed in a double bind, trapped by both the physical walls of the city and the social control of the gangs. Looking at this massive crowd gathered during the 1989 Tiananmen Square protests, the scale of our story shifts from a local criminal slum to the geopolitical stakes of the Cold War. Following the massacre in Beijing, Western intelligence agencies, like the CIA and MI6, found a use for the Triad's untraceable networks. They viewed the gangs as a highly valuable geopolitical asset. Through a classified mission known as Operation Yellowbird, spies struck a deal with a top Triad boss known as Brother Six, gaining access to his smuggling routes. Utilizing Triad speedboats, they successfully smuggled over 400 democratic activists out of China. In exchange, the criminal gangs received funding and legal protection from Western governments. The superpowers involved were willing to fund and protect violent syndicates, as long as those syndicates served their geopolitical interests. As the end of the British lease approached in the early 1990s, the intelligence value of the walled city was outweighed by the political embarrassment it caused for both empires. This photograph captures the 1993 eradication effort. Following a $2.76 billion buyout to evacuate 33,000 residents, excavators tore the city down to dirt. After the demolition, British archives and Chinese museums left no official government records or physical artifacts of the walled city's existence. As seen in this aerial view today, the brutalist sprawl has been replaced by a sanitized park, built to cover where the city once stood. The demolition removed the physical evidence of a century of geopolitical neglect, leaving behind a manicured space that offers no hint of the city that once stood there. It leaves us to consider, if an entire city of 33,000 people could be physically erased and officially forgotten, are there other lawless enclaves currently operating in plain sight?